one piece and a community that is still standing and safe. That's it. Leading with and focusing primarily on things that are crushing position you defeat with better data. You don't shame someone into seeing their neighbors as human. That work, the slow, hard, boots on the ground, lots of really hard conversations that go into changing a heart, that only ever happens through relationship. And you don't get the relationship if you've already written that person off. These are our neighbors, our friends, the guy who plows your road, the woman who bags your groceries. They voted for change. And they got lied to. Again. Some of them are starting to see it. And our job now isn't to win an argument. If I hear the line, "You voted for this one more time, I'm going to cry." Our job is to be the ones that are still standing next to them when they do wake up. Nobody's coming to do that for us. So we gotta be the ones that show up. That's what I got. Do we do questions now or later?
You get to have a couple of questions and then you get to sit down if we have any questions from the audience. A couple for Marcie about her great speech. Anybody, please raise your hand. Right over there, Jim. There you go, Marcie.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Aiden. I just wanted to ask the question. So you stated something that I really agree with, that essentially, to summarize it, bigotry can't be policed away. I was just wondering what your approach to get to attacking bigotry would be. Of course, you mentioned on the ground grassroots work, but is there any other ideas that you have for that idea? Thanks.
I have ideas, full of ideas. I want a space like this for all of us, the progressive folks and the MAGA folks, to meet. I don't know how we do that safely with how divisive the discourse is right now. But when you get down to it, and when you're looking at someone face to face, even debates are different. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned at the door, right? I love knocking doors, I'm crazy. But even people who vehemently oppose anything you stand for, you can always find like that kernel, and it's always gentler, right? I think that's the problem that social media has caused, is that it's real easy to be mean and be a troll, and that goes on both sides, truly. That's not, I hate the both sides line, but it's true. We can be nasty in the comments too. I am in a unique position. I don't know how to get more people that get to do what I do every day. I'm so grateful for it. It is exhausting and draining. But I know these people and I love them. I love them. I would go to bat for them. I'll fight for them. And I am open to suggestions. How do we create more of those spaces? But I think that has to be the priority.
Anyway.
Marcie, it's great to see you again.
It's so good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming over. So it's basically a follow-up on Aiden's question. You mentioned that you would like to see all of us meet in a safe place. And my question is, can we just venture into those spaces? I mean, I'm not talking online, I'm talking physically.
Yes.
And start the conversation there. Would that be a more safe space than trying to find a neutral place? Just even the fact that reaching out to the other side, or I don't know if it's one side or multiple sides, but yeah.
Yeah, I will, I'll just use an experience that I've had recently with it being an election year and getting phone calls from Laramie County Democrats in Cheyenne asking if they can come to our union meetings. The only problem with that is that they only show up every 2 or 4 years, right? So they're either they're asking for a vote or asking to support a slate of candidates, and that's not where we can start. So, yeah, looking unions, I've been trying to push some of our unions to broader communication. I'm trying to post a lot of local events that unions are holding on our the state fed's website. We want to have like a place where here are all the events that are happening across Wyoming. It is just me. I am a one-woman show. We have a lot of work to do. But eventually I'd like to do that. Just go and show up and let down your guard. No, you might hear some awful things, and I'm sorry. Like, it's just some crass, some things that make your head spin, right? And I would just encourage everyone to be curious. Ask questions, not from a defensive position. Oh, what makes you say that? Why are you scared of the trans agenda in our schools or whatever? Has this happened in your kid's classroom? Ask the question, be curious and stay grounded. It takes a lot of practice, but it's crazy how quickly you think like, oh, I've never thought about. Like if you just ask the questions to get them to question some of these beliefs that they've been fed, and for lack of another narrative, that's what sticks. So, is that helpful? I'm gonna work on getting that union events across the state page up once this election is over. Goodness.
All right. How about a round of applause for Marcie? Thank you. If it all of a sudden came to you and you have another question, Marcie will be back here at the end of the event and we can ask some more questions at that point in time. So our next featured 5-minute speaker is Jessica Brauer. Jessica is a nonprofit leader and a writer. If you've paid attention to some of the publications in Wyoming, you've probably read a few of her articles. Tonight she's going to talk about bullies versus builders, navigating contention from neighborhood disputes to state policy. So how about a round of applause for Jessica Brauer? And be thinking about those questions when she's done. Take it away, Jessica.
Awesome. I have to do this thing now where I wear different glasses when I read, so don't start the timer, please. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name's Jessica Brauer. I'm the executive director of the Laramie Plains Civic Center. I'm a writer. I've worked in nonprofit community building for the last 15 years or so. And I practiced what I wanted to say this evening many, many times this afternoon for my dog and cat and stumbled profusely. And I think it's because I'm not here representing an organization. I'm talking about something very vulnerable, and that is being bullied. So, who here has ever been bullied? Yeah, I think we all have, whether it was by a parent, a teacher, a friend, a colleague, an elected official. My first bully was a boy in my neighborhood. He used to tell me that he wanted to drown me in the creek. I don't know why. I don't think he knew why either. When we were in high school, he died by suicide. And I don't share that because I think we need to get into the details of that, but I think about it all the time, and it's been over 30 years. I think a lot about what makes a bully. Early in my career, I started working in social media marketing. That's how I came to the nonprofit world. I was the face behind pages that maybe you've thought critical things about, like the Downtown Laramie page. If you've ever said, "Those people doing that thing, they're so dumb." Thank you. Thank you. That's me. Or has been me. I've been called a lot of names from faceless profiles, and it's awful. When I came to the Civic Center, I was attacked publicly by a tenant who came after me for some very vulnerable topics, calling me a witch and a wicked woman because I don't have children. And then maybe you remember when Representative Harriet Hageman came to the Griffin Theater. She didn't actually book the Griffin Theater, she booked the Phoenix Ballroom, even though we told her many times over she needed the Griffin Theater. We worked with her staff to get her into the appropriate sized room and got her in there where what unfolded, perhaps you all remember. I booked that event because I did have the power to not book it, because I thought civic discourse was important, and I still do. And I gave her the benefit of the doubt. And I watched her chastise the entire theater, 600 plus people, in a way that was vicious and manipulative, and it broke my heart. I actually walked outside of the theater to cry in the hallway and pull myself together because I felt so hurt that she came into my home and bullied my friends. She called us terrorists in a press release the next day. So all of these people have something in common. The boy from my neighborhood, Representative Hageman, the woman who called me a witch, and that is that they provoke rage in us, and they often follow that by feeding off of our reaction to that rage. We all do it. I'm not saying that it's us versus them necessarily. You've probably had a fight with your kid or your spouse or your pet or something where you've gone through the same song and dance. But they provoke rage and then they react, and then the story becomes about the reaction and not about the thing you are actually trying to talk about anymore. And so what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. The conversation, like Marcie was talking about, doesn't happen. Safe space doesn't happen because then you're just fighting. And furthermore, what happens is the builders leave. So the builders who have talent, who have ideas, who have vision, whether they're artists or engineers, accountants, I don't care, they're valuable, they leave because the bullies wear them out. So how does a community prosper off of rage alone? I don't think it does. I think we're seeing examples of how that happens today. When there is so much rage, things start to feel deeply unwell. So my takeaway for you this evening is that outrage is intoxicating for all of us, regardless of your politics, regardless of how you vote tomorrow. My guess is you're all voting tomorrow. I don't need to tell you to do that, or you already have. You probably all have. It's intoxicating. It's like sour candy or reality television or hitting the snooze button. It feels really, really good, and it's a tool, but it's not a tool for building community. So tomorrow, after the election plays out, however it does, if you feel outrage, work with that. Thank you. And if you don't, grab another tool.
See if we can get some great questions for you. Thank you, Jessica. Do we have any questions for Jessica while she's up here? Don't be bashful, raise a hand. Anybody? Thank you, Marav.
Jessica, how do you tie rage to disappointment? Because in many cases, what I have seen and experienced in my career, that often the rage stems from disappointment. And I know that, an election, I may be disappointed tomorrow, who knows? But what's the connection and what can we do about making sure we don't disappoint other people?
I mean, that's a tough question. I think we all will disappoint other people. It's kind of inevitable. I think the best thing we can do is learn how to take care of ourselves. And I know that sounds like really squishy, rainbow unicorns-y. But I truly think that so much of our rage, and I guess I could speak to my rage, so much of my rage, if I excavate under that, there is deep disappointment, there's grief, there's sadness, there's fear. And I think that's a human experience, and I think it's our own responsibilities to work through our own outrage for the betterment of our community and for the betterment of ourselves and those close to us. And it's what I call the forever work. You're never going to wake up one day and say, and now I've nailed it. I will never be outraged again. I will be perfectly balanced and everything will go great. We'll all only continue to keep doing it if we can be so lucky.
Anybody else? Aaron.
Jessica, I want to thank you very much for bringing this up. And, you know, I'm in my 6th year on council, and in the last 2 years, I've seen a dramatic increase in kind of how rage and misinformation, disinformation is being used to enrage others. And I had in a meeting recently someone make the comment, inflammatory language increases engagement. And I know that we've got some sites, especially rants and raves, that can get really unseemly at times. What might be your advice when we encounter that inflammatory language and we're being bait-clicked and everything else? How do we handle that? How do we kind of reframe and not fall victim to intentional inflammatory posts and comments and things?
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredibly challenging issue everywhere, globally, I would say, especially as we see more AI-generated content that is, you know, built with the intent to create outrage, which creates clicks, which then creates value to sell, to advertise. You know, it's all a machine. And I do truthfully think things like these social media, I mean, the social media platforms holistically, they're like junk food, you know? And I think just like junk food, sometimes they're really great and they bring joy, and sometimes they go way too far and you can't sustain yourself off of that alone. And I think the best thing we can do as media consumers is to just continue to question it. In the same way, if you see a headline, to look at the sources. It's just like, you know, back to your high school library course that you had to take on checking the sources. Like, oh, this seems very profound and it has this beautiful graphic with this person who looks really smart. Who said it? Who are they? Was it actually Hitler? You know, I think media literacy is important, and remembering, you know, my background was in communication and journalism, and so the old adage, of course, was if it bleeds, it leads. And things that are gory, for lack of a better word, whether physically or emotionally, get a lot of attention. And so if you see a lot of excitement generated around something, it's very possible that it's being fabricated, or you're just seeing the human condition in a really unfortunate thing that happens again and again.
We got one more bonus question. Marion in the back has a question, and then we'll move to our 2-minute speakers after that. You almost got away.
Okay, on the other end of the spectrum on builders, what, in your experience, is the best way to encourage them?
I mean, I think finding out what they're interested in. And I think talking to young people, I mean, even elementary school age kid, and a child who can speak is a great exercise in this, not because we need to infantilize each other and talk to each other like babies, but to ask somebody, what are you interested in and why, and tell me more, is incredibly valuable for the listener, for the person who is trying to understand better, and for the other person. Is creating an environment where they start to realize, oh, this thing that I thought was just me being a dork about a thing on my own. Like, people are interested in it, and it generates community, which is how anything grows. And I think communities do themselves, communities as in towns, or, you know, Laramie, for example, does itself an incredible disservice by not having more conversations, again, just like Marcie was talking about, in different pockets of lifestyle, to figure out, oh, well, we could work together on a thing, or we both like this, or I have a person who knows this. So long story short, I think just having conversations with people about what interests them, especially if you don't understand it.
Thank you. Now. Well, I want to thank both of the 5-minute featured speakers for their excellent presentations. Just a quick reminder, everybody will get a turn to ask all of the speakers questions when we're all done here. We will not take questions after each individual 2-minute speaker, but we will do that after they've all spoke. One little thing before I do go off on a tangent with the 2-minute speakers here, I do sometimes go off script. I want to just brag a little bit about our PVA board. We work very well together. We try really hard to find speakers that you all will find interesting and that you will take some time out of your evening on a Monday night to come spend with us. And we have been very, very grateful that you do take the time to come and spend with us and listen to our featured speakers. I have been amazed at the quality of speakers we've had over the last few years. And so I have a favor to ask all of you. You know who most of the board is. They got introduced earlier. If there's any topics or featured speakers that you would like us to cover that we haven't done for a while, please let one of the board members know. We will get together in a week and we will talk about who we'd like to have in upcoming meetings. And your input would be valuable. And so just a personal ask, and like I said, a little bit off script. So anyway, thank you for letting me ramble. You all know that I love to do that. We will now move to our 2-minute speakers, and right out of the gate, we will have Aaron O'Doherty talking about a bike park. Come on up, Aaron. Yes.
I'm scared to death of bike parks. I'm Erin O'Doherty. I'm on City Council, and I wanted to let people know that we have a new bike park in Laramie. It's open now. You'll see it behind the detention pond if you're on Boulder Drive looking west. And it's amazing. It scares me, but it's a beautiful thing to see how many riders are out there. I think this is going to be our big thing that brings visitors to Laramie to enjoy the bike park, and gets young people, because it's right next to the high school, gets them to do exercise that's lifelong activity. And so there's going to be a ribbon cutting. We'll have a ribbon over a bike park on Saturday, and the ceremony is like from 10 to 2. And the bike park is, if you want to just be entertained by people doing jumps off of ramps, you can see them from the high school parking lot and from Boulder Drive. Anyway, I encourage you to take a look, and it's going to get better looking once there's more landscaping, but they had to move a lot of dirt first. Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. Who doesn't want to see City Council out there running around the bike park doing jumps, huh? I'd love to see that. Anyway, our next person featured for 2 minutes, Austin Lipson, I hope I pronounced that correctly, wants to talk about Save the Laramie Greenbelt. Welcome, Austin. And did I get your last name right? All right.
Klaus. And thank you to the PVA. This is my, oh, pardon me. Thank you to the PVA. This is my first time attending one of these events, and really didn't know about this group before. This is pretty cool. But yeah, my name is Austin Lipson. I'm a member of the group called Save the Laramie Greenbelt. We formed initially because there was some potential development kind of being encouraged along the river, kind of between the river and the west side neighborhood. And we were all just concerned that any development in that area, if done improperly, would jeopardize that part of town, particularly the west side neighborhood that's already very prone to flooding. There's a lot of floodplain over there that developers kind of have their eye on and stuff. So we've been doing things like attending city council meetings, town halls, and just all sorts of different forms of civic engagement. Most recently, some of us have started meeting with Mayor Cumby and some of the city council members, as well as city staff, and we've been having some incredibly productive meetings. We actually had one today that I think are gonna go a long way in protecting that area of town, and I'm actually becoming pretty hopeful that they might go a long way in protecting all of town. So if you're interested in joining our group, feel free to come up and talk to me after this. I'd be happy to put you on our mailing list and just kind of meet you and let you know more about what we're doing. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Austin. All right, our next 2-minute speaker is Marav Ben David, and she will be talking, I believe, about transparency. Is that correct, Marav? Yes. All right, take it away.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me speak again. You might be tired of me pretty soon. Jessica brought a very important issue, and Sharon Cumby, the mayor's question, was right on cue to what I came to talk about, and that is to reduce our disappointment of each other, and therefore the rage that comes with it, and the attacks that follow on social media and otherwise. Elected officials, and I hope I'll become one of them soon, need to be transparent. It's really, really easy to celebrate successes. The bike park is super scary. You will never catch me there. It's a great facility for town. But we also need to post about and let the public know about things that are a little controversial. We are removing beaver dams from Spring Creek for a good reason, but we haven't told anybody. So the point I'm trying to make is we will all enjoy much more cordial interactions if we are transparent. And I'm standing here in front of you now, and I promise you that if I get elected to the county commission, I will be transparent. Thank you.
Thank you, Marav. All right, our next 2-minute speaker is another city councilor who just happens to be our mayor. Sharon Cumby wants to talk about the rail ties near the Greenbelt. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay. Good evening. I've received a number of questions about an ever-increasing stack of rail ties that is just south of the west side and adjacent to our beautiful Greenbelt. This stack has gone as high as 25 feet and is continuing to increase. We began to work with both the county, the city, so with Pete Gosar, members of the city, our city manager, as well as Representative Provenza. And we decided to combine on all fronts to write the governor, to write DEQ, to use all of our connections to try to negotiate with Union Pacific Railroad and with Omaha Tracks, who is the company that was actually subcontracted to do the work. What they are doing is bringing in rail ties toward a mission or an endeavor to grind up those rail ties to become biofuel for mountain cement. Well, our voices have been heard. DEQ came back and has reclassified the site. It is not normal railroad operations as usual. it is now considered a solid waste site. And a solid waste site must be moved from its adjacent location to the community, to Spring Creek, and to the river. So once again, working together, we are working to get that moved. Now it's moving south, and we all need to be aware of the next phase, which will require re-permitting, and that is the grinding phase. And we're concentrating on that because we think that might be harmful for us, and we want to be ready. And so for right now, it will be relocated. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. All right. I hope you're getting your questions ready for when we're all done with our 2-minute speakers. Anyway, Madeline Dalrymple, I hope I pronounced that correct. Citizens Climate Lobby is the first topic up. Thank you, Madeline.
Thank you. I just want to say how much I appreciate all of you here. Whenever I come, I always feel like, oh, these are the best people, because you're doing things that really make a difference and participating in our community. So thank you very much. I wanted to let you know a little bit about one group that I volunteer with, Citizens Climate Lobby. We work on the federal level to talk with our elected senators and our representative to encourage them to support climate legislation. So any legislation that reduces climate pollution, that reduces the emissions or cleans up the emissions, and always to protect people and communities. So we just finished lobbying this summer. We lobby twice a year. The summer lobby event happened in Tuesday, June 28, and all across the nation, we had people fly into Washington, D.C., and we had over 400 meetings with members of Congress. Everyone's dressed up very businesslike, not in kitty cats on moons like I am tonight, but appropriately. And in like our speakers, our featured speakers, they speak in relationship with our members of Congress. So not shaking our fingers at them, listening to what they have to say, finding that common ground, and seeing how we can move forward so that we get durable legislation that will pass and stay passed because it's supported by both Democrats and Republicans. And so I just wanted to let you know that we're recruiting for our December lobby team. It will be virtual, so you don't have to fly into Washington, D.C. And I think it'd be great to have some young people participate, like maybe high school or college. So keep that in mind and contact Citizens Climate Lobby if you have some ideas on some people that might want to participate in this way in our democracy. Thanks.
Thank you, Madeline. All right, our next 2-minute speaker is Ed Consul. I bet you all he'll get the bell before he's done. Come on, Ed. He's like me, he can't help himself.
Just look forward to that.
Oh, you do?
I do, yeah. I miss the gong. I like to challenge the gong person, My name is Ed Consul, and I wanted to update you a little bit on data centers and what's been happening. The Sierra Club put on an informational meeting on data centers on August 5th. That turned out to be so well attended, it filled the Lincoln Center out in West Laramie. The estimate was over 100 people. We had Jocelyn Wolf, who was the co-author of the Wyoming Outdoor Council white paper on data centers. She was the keynote speaker. She was so good in preparing the white paper and in speaking, she's now been hired by WAC to focus on data centers. And there's going to be an update to that white paper because things are changing rapidly. August 11th, many of you were there, City Council, County Commissioners meeting. It was packed, standing room only at the Municipal Operations Center. That's a large room. So there are a lot of people interested in this. And the next step, according to a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, the Albany County planning staff are working on regulations for data centers and promise to have a draft for the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting September 9th, 5 p.m. For solidarity, it started in Cheyenne about data centers. Wear green if you can when you attend. This meeting will be held in the Commissioner's Room at the Albany County Courthouse. You can attend by Zoom. How important is this meeting? 2 county commissioners have come out pushing for an industrial park or parks in Albany County. So your input is needed. What the industrial park does is gets around the ISC review. If you're interested in the mayor's recommendations, world mayors, not Mayor Cumbie, I have copies of that, and if you're not clear on, you were right, if you're not clear on the exception created by the park, I brought copies of a printout from Trey Sherwood, who answered questions about that for me. Are you happy now? I got belled out.
You know I love you. If you don't have questions for Ed when we're done, you weren't paying attention. So I'm just going to challenge all of you. He's got a lot more to say. Trust me, I know him. All right. Our next 2-minute featured speaker is one of our current elected officials, and I'm just going to say it, my favorite county sheriff, Aaron Appelhans. Round of applause.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Aaron Appelhans. I'm your current Albany County Sheriff, running for re-election to stay your current Albany County Sheriff in 2026. I just wanted to talk to you very quickly about the upcoming election tomorrow, and then foreshadowing the upcoming election, general election in November. You know, for me being sheriff since 2020 and having lived in Laramie for the last 25 years, really been kind of that hometown kid who's, you know, come up with the sheriff's department and tried to make as many changes as we possibly can, changes that are good for the community since taking office. Some of those changes that we've done that I'd like to highlight is just, you know, when I took over the department was in some pretty rough shape back in 2020, and we've been able to clean the department. Definitely removed some of the deputies that we had at that time that were making a bad name for Albany County Sheriff's Office and Albany County in general. Really took financial responsibility of the office and made it financially feasible and highly efficient in all of the work that we do. Really focused on community policing in 3 major areas, recognizing and responding to mental health issues that we have here in Albany County, de-escalating and teaching those de-escalation techniques to our deputies so that we can better respond, and working with the community to find solutions that the community wants and needs, all in the name of trying to make our community, which we live, we work in, and we're a part of, safer. And we've been able to do that. And so as we move into this election tomorrow and move into the election in the general, you're definitely going to have some choices. And so just wanted to share with you guys some of the things that we did to help inform your decision. So we'll be asking for your vote tomorrow. Also be asking for it November 3rd in the general election. Thank you for your time tonight.
All right, staying with the theme of candidates tonight, redo part 2, 3, 4. Gary Wilkin, running for HD 46. Come on up, Gary.
Oh, yeah. Good evening, all. I have just become sharing an apology in that I've been disappointed in life coming and interacting with me during the past 2 months and slowed down my intent to be at every kind of citizens event and opportunity to meet you all, to give you a chance to ask me questions, to know more about me as a candidate for House District 46 as a Democrat. And I want to make sure, first, you know what's happening is that tomorrow's election doesn't decide who's going to be the candidate. It's the general election. Tomorrow will decide who is the Republican candidate, and I will go on as Democrat with, if possible, only write-in opposition. So coming up for the general election, I'm going to be extra busy trying to get the word out. We do offer the Democratic concerns for House District 46. Public lands, public people, caring for people, listening to people, and my events that got in the way was my little people. My son and my granddaughter and my daughter-in-law have moved to Laramie from Missouri, and part of that meant we were in the process of having to buy a house for them or a trailer and find a place to live and deal with the issues that any citizen has to deal with to live in Laramie. And we love Laramie, and we will continue to do that. The speakers tonight were great. As a former shop steward in Kaiser Center Industries in Oakland, California for 4 years, thank you very much for the information from the union. And I do need to figure out how to help us connect with our union members, particularly with the railroad people here. That is a big part of how the union connected to Laramie. Also, there are many other ways, but I just love talking, and I'd like to talk to anybody and everybody about more of what's going on and ask for your support. Get the word out. The debate is only beginning.
Thank you, Gary. Gary brought up a couple of good points. When we're all done with tonight's meeting, you don't all have to head for the doors. You're welcome to hang out and converse with any of the PVA board members, any of the candidates that we have here. Just want to correct one thing. Gary made me nervous when he was talking about write-ins. He glanced over towards me. I am not doing a write-in campaign for House District 46. That's my district, and I've got Gary's sign out front. But anyhow, I'm running for a different office, County Commissioner. But anyhow, we will move on to our next candidate for one of our local offices, Eric Boss, who is also running for County Commissioner. Come on up, Eric. Tell us what's on your mind. In 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes, yes. Good evening. All right, thank you. I'm so excited when that happens. I'm going to stick with the theme of our guest speakers this evening because I was very inspired by what you were all talking about. First of all, being a crazy person who loves knocking doors, it's been a joy, yeah. The first time I started knocking doors was with Jason Crow's campaign in Colorado, and to do it here in my hometown, it's so much better. I've been able to talk to so many different people, and because it's a contested primary, I've been focusing on the Democrats, but every single house with a Chris Clevin sign, I plan to knock on that door. So, I think combating bullying with compassion and with faith and with hope is something that was running through my heart as you were speaking this evening. So thanks for bringing our awareness to that. I work at a preschool. I had a young boy today who got very upset, started throwing some blocks. Turns out his behavior had a root cause. His sister messed up his tower, so he messed up hers. And that's what it sometimes feels like we're doing. So I'm hoping that as we continue to live into hope, that we can see each other as the human beings, the children of God that we are. Rock Springs is a place that I've been frequenting, and it's been fun going out there. And I was even able to talk to them about my own gender identity. And that's something that I don't write down on paper because we live in Wyoming. I go by they, them. And I love that since getting to Wyoming, I've been to be able to work with the Young Democrats of Wyoming, the Human Rights and Relations Commission, the jail ministry here in town, the Cancer Center, and it's been such a joy to utilize all of my seminary training, especially the anti-racism work that I've done, and it's been a joy. So thank you for considering me.
Thank you, Eric. We have one more 2-minute speaker, and then we will move to the whole list all over again. And due to the time, it will probably be one question for every one of our speakers. Is that correct, Jim?
Please. Yeah, just for a lot of our, a few of you who have never been here, our general meeting time is 7 to 8, 8:15. We may run over, so please at question period, a concise question and a concise answer, so we can get out of here before 11. Okay, Klaus, back to you.
I've never made us go till 11, 8:30, quarter to 9 sometimes, especially when they're out visiting people in Arizona or Hawaii, and he's not here to tell me I have to be in a hurry. So anyhow, our last featured 2-minute speaker tonight, and then we'll go through the whole list again, as I mentioned, is Madeline Dalrymple. I thought this was appropriate to be our last topic of our speakers, Dark Skies Laramie. Yes.
Hi, it's been a long evening, so I'll just, yes, I'm in costume. So there's a bunch of foolish people in town that really like our dark skies, our natural nighttime environment, the stars, and we're a little concerned that they're slowly going away, and so a few of us have gotten together and we have been talking to other organizations that also share concerns about dark skies, like Pilot Hill could be qualified as a dark sky park by Dark Sky International, and so they're interested. Audubon Society is putting on a kid and families program August 28 at the planetarium featuring Losing the Dark. It's an Audubon program. There are a number of groups that are concerned about this. Also responsible outdoor lighting at night to keep our streets safe and yet not have so much glare that we can't see what we're doing or who's hiding in the shadows. So if you're interested in working with some of us and spreading the word and seeing how we can foster a healthy nighttime environment, a few of us will be meeting this Thursday at 1 o'clock at Uptown Cold Creek, and you're welcome to come and have some coffee with us or tea and visit about how we might take care of our beautiful skies here. Thank you.
All right, now it's time for the lightning round. Any questions for our first featured speaker, Marcie Kindred? You want to come on up, Marcie?
That's the other thing, you got to zoom up there. Sorry.
Hello. Yep, on. Perfect. So one of the questions that I had pertained to the idea of creating a safe space for all members of various different political walks of life to meet and discuss things with. The question I had was, how do you foster a safe environment when you are inviting people who are inherently dangerous to another group of people, i.e. Transphobic, bigoted people, with regards to inviting also trans people to that space?
So I will just start that out with, it's not for everybody. It is not required of folks in to put themselves out there like that, but it is for some. I feel called to that work. I am a cisgendered white woman. I do work in a very male-dominated, often misogynist space, I feel called to that work, but it is not required. I would say with my members specifically, they do know how to run a good meeting. So I think if we had folks that know how to run a good meeting, which union members do, they run it tight ship like this. I've been in a lot of progressive meetings and I'm like, oh my gosh, we need some Rob rules. That is a structure that I think would be helpful, setting group agreements at the beginning, and we're here and finding folks from both sides willing to come and speak about the issues that affect us all. And I think, like my comments from earlier, it has to be about the issue. We have to lead with those working people's issues that we can all relate to and agree with. Is that for me?
Yeah. Is it okay to ask a second question for the featured speaker? Sometimes a good starting point for starting a conversation is knowing what platforms somebody cares deeply about. Related to AFL-CIO, what might surprise us? What might be a good starting point, say, especially for the candidates in the room? What would you like for us to know about how workers may be voting or the reasons they may be voting one way or another in the coming elections?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Data centers. So, especially in Cheyenne, you've probably all read the news where I somehow got put into the pro-data center camp. My union workers, that was not pushed by me. I am an organizer. I can fill the Capitol if I need to. I've done it a few times the last couple of legislative sessions. My folks were there fighting for their jobs. And so I think it's keep that in your mind when you're, I do think we need to organize and we need regulations. My folks often, this has been the greatest blessing to them for those issues that I spoke to that we should be leading with. People are putting down payments on houses. They are no longer traveling to the nearest job site in South Dakota. They're coaching Little League. They're sleeping in their own beds. That's what that means to them. Of course, they are concerned with AI. A lot of our arguments for or against data centers are unregulated, unchecked AI, right? That's not what they're thinking about. They know that it has completely changed their lives for the better. And so framing all discussion with that in the back of your head, I do think is super important. And yes, leading with data centers and having good constructive conversations about how can we keep your job and make sure that our community is not destroyed.
We gotta move on.
Sorry.
We.
Data centers is a good topic, I can assure you.
As Klaus said, we'll be here, when the meeting adjourns, we'll be yakking it up till whenever. Marion and I will
So
close
that's
the
been a
church.
very important topic.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some more questions for Ed on that.
More
Our next,
hang out if you want, if you can. Sorry, Klaus.
oh, no worries. So our next featured speaker was Jess Brauer. Do we have any questions for Jess? It looks like we have Aaron O'Doherty over there. Jess, come get your exercise. Run up here.
I would like to thank you for all of the spaces that you've provided for community at the community center. And would you mind telling people about what's there? I mean, when I saw the kids on their little cars riding around in the gym, I thought, wow, that was clever, and you just opened that up for. So can you just talk about what's available there? Like the third spaces and the places for people to get to know one another and enjoy Laramie.
Yeah, so Third spaces, for anyone who's not familiar, is your third space that contributes to your well-being. You have home, work, and then the other space. So in the Civic Center, that's something that is very important to me. It's important to me in all of the work that I do. So I'm constantly trying to think about how can we get people into the building and connecting with one another. So what Aaron is referencing is in the South Gym, which is the big gym or the boys' gym, the gym by Sunshine Coffee. There's a free play library that's open during the week for young families to come in and use. We've started to post resources there. It's just a really great place, particularly for folks who are homeschooling or people who have kids who are not in school yet in the cold months. And in the summer, but we all want to be outside. But beyond that, there's so many things, I could talk forever, but at the core of the work that I'm trying to do there is to create space for people to gather and connect around their interests, whether that's art, sports, an educational topic, what have you.
Hang on. Since our first featured speaker got another question, anybody have one more for Jessica? Okay, now you can go. All right. Our next speaker in order was Erin O'Doherty talking about the bike park. Before I make her run up here, does anybody have any questions about the bike park for Erin? Seeing none, we'll move on to our next speaker, who was Austin Lipson and Save the Laramie Greenbelt. Anybody have a question for Austin? Come on up, Austin. And Marav Ben David over here has a question for you.
Austin, I don't know if it was clear enough. What are you working on right now with the council and the city planners? What are you exactly working on with them?
So we are currently working on a zoning overlay for the west side neighborhood. We currently are kind of envisioning like a historic district overlay that will protect some of the character and historic quality of the neighborhood. And we're also working on flood prevention, flood mitigation, that kind of thing. So we're trying to kind of be creative and figure out how we can, whether it is part of the overlay or part of the Laramie Code in general, impose requirements for development in that part of town that will prevent any kind of destructive flooding in an area that's already very flood prone. And like I said, when I was last up here, it's possible that we might actually be brainstorming some pretty helpful stuff for all of the city of Laramie. So thank you, Marav.
Thank you. Your turn. Any questions for Marav and her topic of transparency? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next speaker. Sharon Cumby talking about the rail ties. Any questions for Sharon? Come on up, Sharon. We have a question from Ed.
Yeah, this is a quick two-parter. Are there no ordinances about stacking rail ties where they're at? And what's the safety of those being burned in mountain cement? They have a lot of chemicals in them.
Yes. We're in the process of doing research about that. And the stacking, there is no city ordinances against stacking in an I-2 zone. And so we are looking at code to see what we might need to do. After they had already come in, it's very difficult to come in and add a rule to ordinance because that'll wind you up in a court of law and a big lawsuit. And UP, as Erin O'Doherty said, probably has more lawyers than the city has employees. So, but we're trying to do the research necessary. Their claim is that the load of creosote is less than 15%, that it burns cleaner than coal, burns hotter. I mean, we've got kind of the party line available to us, the public relations stuff. So we are working to hire a consultant to really do a deep dive on the research so that when it comes time for that permitting, we've got the data and fact to bring forward and to work with DEQ. And we believe that the solution will probably be at a state level.
Sharon, I'm assuming they're burning these to get rid of them. That's the purpose of them going to mountain cement. It's just a form of disposal.
What Omaha Tracks has done is to work with the development of a process where they take the rail ties and they grind them up, and then that becomes biofuel for the kilns at Mountain Cement. And so that is the plan that, speaking of transparency, wasn't really transparent when we started seeing the first rail ties come in, and the next thing we know, they're 20 feet tall, then 25. And so, anyway. That's it.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so I don't have Madeline running up and down and back and forth a couple times in a row. I'm going to ask if anybody has questions for Madeline about either the Citizens Climate Lobby or Dark Skies Laramie. Please raise your hand right now. All right. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Madeline.
Madeline, would you?
Yes, it is.
Madeline, would you repeat when your group is meeting?
Dark Skies?
Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, yes, Dark Skies.
1 p.m. this Thursday at Uptown, Coal Creek.
Any other questions? She had 2 topics. All right. Thank you, Madeline. Maybe the next one. No. Ed Consul, any questions for Ed about data centers? There we go. All right, it looks like we have a couple of questions. Ed, come on up. I don't know which one had their hand up first, Jessica and then Marav. Jim, Jessica, and then Marav.
Oh, that's plenty of time.
Okay, I don't want to get too in the weeds here, so you can just say we can talk about it later. But I'm curious, it's my understanding that Laramie, Albany County is actually is short on power in a way that makes it challenging to build houses and such. Is building data centers in Albany County truly something that's feasible? Or is this a conversation about something that would happen in a very fictional future?
No, and this is a double-edged sword. There is a lack of power. It is, I forget the numbers, they were thrown out at the meeting we had over in West Laramie. They can bring in, Rocky Mountain Power can bring in a new transmission line or 2 of them, but the cost is staggering. But who knows what the billionaires would want to do. The other answer to that is bring your own power. Now, this sounds good, but if it's not renewable energy, what they're doing is either using gas-fired plants like Black Hills has done over in Cheyenne or is planning on doing, and apparently that's what Microsoft is going to do with their expanded center because they've already signed contracts to get gas to run them, or a tremendous amount of diesel generators, and those will probably show up as backup anyway. Now, what I've been told is the thinking of the data center people is they really want a grid tie. because that can give them consistent energy. They're a little worried about running their own electrical generation. And this ties into the water too, because when you talk about the recirculating systems of data centers, you have to be careful because the power generation also uses water, and you can use much more there.
Yeah, that was something I wanted you to expand on. We are hearing about closed loop systems versus open systems. We know that other parts of data centers consume a lot of water, even if they have closed loop. Is that correct? And what do you know about the water consumption?
Okay, all I can tell you is what I've learned by going to the Sierra Club meeting and the city meeting out at the operations center. What I've been told, well, in a couple other meetings now that I think about it that I've had, what I've been told is a closed loop system for general sized data center uses about 1 million gallons. And this is from a person that I talked to who's experienced with data centers and has toured the data centers over in Cheyenne, in fact, helped finance some of them years ago, the beginnings of this. They use 1 million gallons. It's got glycol in it, basically like your radiator in your car. And if you know anything about glycol, it's a poison. You dump it on the ground or put it in a holding pond, which some people have suggested, believe it or not. It drains out and can get into the water supply. So what the solution has been over in Cheyenne, coming from this person, is the data centers truck it down to Colorado where there's a processing plant. And according to him, it's a 5-year cycle. You load it up, run the water for 5 years, and then you have to change it out and do something with it. But you can't just dump it on the ground. I thought you said there were 3. Yeah. Well, I've already gotten belled out, so remember, if you want to know about the global urban data centers pact, 40 mayors from around the world signed on to this. It has some really good structure for what we need for Albany County. And also, if you need to know more about the loopholes of the Industrial Siting Act, I have Trey Sherwood's answers here. You can pick these up from me before you leave tonight.
He's like our Energizer Bunny. He just keeps on going and going and going. Anyway, thank you, Ed. He has a lot more to say about that topic, as well as every commissioner candidate here does too. So if you want to hang out after the meeting, that is a very big point of contention in our local county. Our next featured speaker on the list was Aaron Appelhans. Does anybody have any questions for Aaron before we have him run up here? Not seeing any. Our next person that was a 2-minute speaker was Gary Wilkin from HD 46. Anybody got any questions for Gary Wilkin? Not seeing any. Our last person who spoke, Eric Boss. Any questions for Eric Boss about his run for county commission? All right, Ed, it's going to make Eric run up here.
Yeah, I'd just like to keep with tonight's theme, or at least part of it, your position on data centers and what you consider important in thinking about them.
Sure. I mean, number one is our community. Is it a good fit for our community? I have a lot of concerns, and I also understand that technology always develops. And so to implement some kind of permanent moratorium, I would be hesitant to do that. To implement a significant moratorium that puts it off for until the technology catches up to a comfortable level that our community would be okay with, that would be my suggestion. I'm especially concerned about the morality of it. And, you know, I've spoken to this at multiple forums. I think that in some ways data centers can be a bit of a distraction from this AI bubble that we're having. the technology, the economy of it all, it's nervous to me. As well as we are, we need to be a country that can defend ourselves against people who intend us harm. Our people in Laramie, people around this country, people who have served, they say that data centers are the way that we'll be able to create more national security. I would question the sources of that information and also hold that heavily, the fact that we are behind. Foreign countries have attacked 12 different states, and I wonder if that has any relation to those states' data centers. So, thank you.
Any other? Okay. Thank you, Eric. I will add one thing to what Eric just said. All county commissioner candidates, I believe, showed up at the League of Women Voters Forum. Data centers was a question. I would recommend you go on YouTube, look up either Albany County Public Library, that's probably the easiest one, or the League of Women Voters. You will find the video of the first forum that the league put on, which was with the county commissioners. That question about data centers was brought up. Also, our very own PVA had an excellent candidates night not too long ago. If you go onto our Facebook page, I believe you now need to go to our YouTube page, you can find all of the candidates that showed up for the PVA were also asked the question about data centers. So it has been a topic of a lot of concern, and it has been asked and answered multiple times, and it will be going forward. We have a lot to learn. So I want to thank all of the excellent speakers that were here tonight, our 5-minute featured speakers, all of our 2-minute speakers. Thank you. Let's give everybody a big round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause for showing up on a Monday night. I would just like to add our next PVA meeting, and it's always the third Monday of the month, will be September 21st at 7 p.m. right here. Same location, same time, same place. And I hope to see all of you. Bring a friend. And again, as I asked earlier, if you have any ideas on topics, featured speakers for the PVA to consider, please find a board member, whisper on our ear, yell in our ear, give us a note, whatever it may be. Again, thank you all for coming out. We look forward to seeing you again next month. Do you have anything to add, Jim, before we close it out? I guess not. He's busy talking. So thank you again. In chair speak, this meeting is adjourned. Have a great evening.